Miguel, human ducks are our future.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the 19th episode of the Medieval Rimworld series. I hope you all notice a slight difference in this episode in my audio quality. I finally got a pop filter, so fingers crossed there's no more weird pops or glitches in my speech. I'm still tweaking a couple of things, so no promises. And I'm also just getting over being sick, so my voice might sound a little different regardless. But that's enough of my boring video making stuff out of the way. We have some of our beloved to bury in our crypt, which you all finally get to see. As Lydia's guards will only be here temporarily, they will only get wooden coffins, while Danders and Ducks will both be given silver sarcophagus. Next to each other, they'll at least lay here until we recapture the Hernan Citadel and bury them together there. Nora would spend some time with her father, sitting by the side of his coffin. We'll leave her in peace. I'm sure she's glad to have some closure on his death. Early the next morning, we will say goodbye to Lydia and her two remaining guards, for the moment that is. They would head out very early in the morning to avoid any travelling bandits or haunt caravans that may spot them. I'm sure this isn't the last we've seen of them though. Now that Lydia has left, it's time to get back to work on our own base, as I'm sure our recent attacks will be reciprocated by other factions. So I've decided to upgrade the front towers. I've really disliked how large these towers were, especially compared to those in the castle, so I've been wanting to do these for quite a while. Not long after we started though, we had a couple of factions do battle in our territory. It appears to be some Thromboians fighting a minor medieval nation. Now normally I wouldn't bother showing these sorts of fights in videos, but in this one they began using my embrasures to their advantage. So, we had to send out some of our people and some of our magic to dispatch these enemies. We'd get back into it, making some good progress, and of course, we got another raid. More Thromboians. Thankfully, Thromboians and lightning don't mix, so it was over pretty quick. With this other raid dispatched pretty easily, we finished off deconstruction of the old towers, and with some editing magic, they are now designed. But before we get into construction, Nia appears to be pregnant. I don't remember watching Mart and Nia's wedding. I think it might have happened at some point last episode while I was doing some construction. Regardless, they've been married for a little while now and they're starting a family. I'm so happy for them. They're both pretty cool characters who have been with us for quite a while. And to protect all the families that we have here, the construction of our new front gates are underway. The towers of these front gates look a little different, which I was trying to avoid, but I think it's understandable as they serve quite a different purpose to all the others. We've also included some gemstone pylons, using some of the ruby ones this time in addition to the sapphire ones, and in my opinion these ones are even more powerful, so stay tuned to check those out. Upon completion, I think this section looks great. There's plenty of room for our people to defend and vet people who are coming into the city. I'm pretty proud of this improvement. And of course, while working on this section, I decided to finish the entire northern wall, putting towers along the entire face of it, including a furnace in one of the towers to help remove corpses and unwanted weapons from raiders, as well as a weapons storage in one of the other towers covered by the mountains. Moving on, our bull took so long that Nia is now giving birth to her beautiful baby girl. And I'd give her a temporary name of Velma. Hoping you guys can give me a name for her in the comments though. You guys always come through with some killer suggestions, so looking forward to seeing what you come up with. And while we're talking about children, it looks like Mart is teaching young Xander some melee techniques. I am sure he'll be an excellent father to his daughter. Next up, we would set up a long overdue messenger bench in one of the towers inside of our castle with a small crow perch to send out mail to other factions. This will come in handy if we need a hand defending or someone to come trade with us. We now return to some more defense construction. We would finally build a proper wall and tower in the south, allowing us to keep enemies out while allowing allies to continue to come in through the small door that we've created in it. The idea with this tower in the south is to eventually connect it into the rest of the castle, which you can see planned out here. The castle is going to end up taking up most of the right side of the map. I felt that the castle that we have now is pretty good, but it makes sense to extend it further south as we really want to use up all the land we have in the hold. But I'm sure you're all wondering what we're going to use these new sections for. The first pit down here will be used for a dragon's den and potentially some homes for our specific dragon riders and tamers. Next door, I'm hoping to use as a large storage/production area with potentially a few rooms for people in there as well. Lastly, this big open area will be used for a walled off farmland, a proper barn for all of our animals, and possibly a couple of houses to the east side of this section. Much like the castle initially, I'm going to leave this alone to be built in the background, going instead now to focus on a smelter for producing steel, which is long overdue. We build this in the blacksmiths, which should be moved in the next couple of episodes as well. And to cap off our construction for now at least, we'd get some of these primitive water pumps installed to remove the little creek and mud just outside of the new section of the castle. This will be so that we can put more farmland over this side. I've buffed these primitive pumps. I will add the mod to the mod list after this episode. I should have introduced these much earlier in the series, so as I said, I've buffed them a little bit. The default settings are very slow and they don't have a very wide radius normally. We'll just let these work in the background and hopefully we've got some dry land here soon enough. Now, if you thought all we were doing today is boring construction projects, you'd be wrong. I decided to send a small group out led by Mart, primarily made up of our city guards, to one of these nearby ruins that we've been aware of for some time. Consider this a training mission of sorts. When we arrived, we could see the abandoned castle in the distance. However, we could see lights inside through one of the open windows. This caused Mart to go over a quick strategy with the group, just in case there's enemies inside. We'd then walk around on the opposite side of the castle to see if we could find an entrance. Locating a front door, Mart would execute an entrance plan with backup behind him. They were really needed as he met two Haunt soldiers inside. One was knocked down while the other attempted to flee and would die for his cowardice. Mart would immediately begin interrogating one of the remaining soldiers, questioning him quickly but to no avail. This caused Serlo to beat him a little bit, hoping for some proper cooperation later on, taking him off to a safe place while we explore further. The guards would move in further while Mart and Ginger discussed the possibility that they walked into something much more serious than first expected. Despite the risks, our group would push forward, finding a soldier in the southern wing who would engage in battle with Orlana. She's one of the guards that I haven't introduced properly just yet, but she's been with us for a little while. It also looks like she's introduced this woman to her mace with some ferocity, as she's now dead. Mart and Ginger would proceed while the guards continued exploring in the west. Moving room to room, they found another guard which Mart would swiftly put down with some help from Ginger. We would find his interesting hammer. It's like none that we've ever seen before. It also seems we'll get the opportunity to put this new weapon to use, as Mart and Ginger have found another enemy. Mart whiffed this shot, but thanks to Ginger and some of her sonic powers, using her magical blast and dash abilities, we would take the soldier down pretty quickly. The pair wouldn't find anything of interest in this section, deciding instead to return to the others who had come to the room where we'd seen light through the window. Mart would quietly explain the plan before bursting in, seeing an armor-clad enemy, preparing some sort of ritual. Rung to him, he had wielded his weapon properly this time, knocking the man down as everyone else flooded the room to make sure it's safe. There is certainly something odd going on here. What it is, we're not quite sure just yet. Ginger with her psychic powers could feel some sort of aura radiating from this man. He's obviously a powerful magical user of sorts, and it seems this silver sarcophagus may be part of his ritual. He could be a necromancer. Perhaps he's attempting to bring the occupant back to life. The group collectively decided to attempt to open it, preparing themselves for whoever or whatever might be inside. If this Haunt Wizard's ritual has worked, we really need to be ready for battle. Ma would begin trying to open the lid, but to no avail. It feels like it's trapped shut with some sort of magic. We're not too disappointed though, as this gives us an opportunity to finally get some sleep, as the prisoners were moved into another room. As we slept, our dreams were filled with the possibilities of what we may have found here. It seems though that in our rush, we've overlooked a single large room that remains undiscovered, and it's right next to where the prisoners are. This is definitely an oversight by our group, maybe due to some missed communication. Either way, it looks like Azamar has realized that we're all asleep and is now entering the room, which seems to be a nest for his Grim Shadow, a large and powerful dragon with a very menacing appearance. They're quite a bit less intelligent than the dragons that we have, as these ones have evolved more for brute strength. Azamar would lead the beast outside as he beats the remaining prisoner to death. I'm sure he's trying to prevent any secrets that he may have from being spilled to us. The Grim Shadow would find our rocks in the entrance room, beginning to chase it, hoping to devour its tasty rocks meat. It would give chase outside, Azamar following close behind, looking for some food as well. It seems it's also followed by Orlana and Zetus though, who have heard the Rox's cries for help. They would be greeted at the entrance by Azamar. This time he was ready and wielding one of the ancient weapons we found, knocking both of our warriors down. It's probably a good thing that they went down, as this Grim Shadow would have ripped Orlana apart. Once he had finished his work, he would begin to flee the area. Although our people weren't far behind, rescuing our fallen, Orlana had lost another arm in this fight. Mart would then give chase, finding Azamar on the edge of the forest. They had a short interaction where he would warn Mart, warrior to warrior, that the Haunts will destroy Morgan's Hold one way or another. Mart was not happy by this, attempting to attack, but Azamar would put a curse of death mark on him, knocking him out while he would begin to make his escape. He's off to continue his necromancy practices elsewhere. After today, we will have to keep a close eye on all of our surrounding areas for him to potentially pop up again. For now though, it's time to return home. The trip would take a couple of days. Thankfully, Mart reawoke during the time and everybody was able to tend to their injuries without any serious infections. Not long after everyone had returned home, they would rest for quite a while, although a horrifying mist began to blow in from the south, and with it, a being of unimaginable evil. A lich has appeared in the south of our city. Only a couple of these beings have ever been seen in recorded history, and they've often torn up entire cities. Let's pause here for a second. The lich is described by our history books as a withered and faded collection of bones embodied by a malevolent spirit whose only purpose is to turn life to death. This could mean some serious trouble for our colony. It appears its minions are already headed into the hold after breaking down the door in our southern gate. We really should have used metal for this door in hindsight. All of our people were alerted, prompting an instant response. The dragons and several of our nearby warriors would begin moving in between the sections of built wall. We managed to catch glimpses of these unholy beings as our group moved into position to launch fireballs and a concise attack under Ryo's leadership. The lich itself wasn't far behind, beginning to enter our walls, hoping to put an end to all of us. Mart had told Ryo what had happened at the ruin, and thus Ryo suspected the lich's presence is his doing. As the lich entered, thankfully Vetur and his small squad of brave fighters came in with the help of Ernest's magic and vanquished the spirit, causing the remaining skeletons to disintegrate as Apostus defended his master. We would quickly get our people tended to as we examine where the lich had died. I actually missed its death, and somehow it ended up over here. I suspect Valor hit it so hard with his hammer that it flew all the way over here. Regardless, we got a couple of goodies from it, that being a torn script that will teach a pawn to be an enchanter, and a tome of geomancy. These will come in handy sooner than you may expect. You see, little Lily Morgan, yes, that is Nora and Vetur's daughter's name, is magically gifted. This name for her was suggested by Jonathan H6021, and I agree with Jonathan here. This is a nice name. It's a bit of a swap up from a colony which mostly has very medieval and fantasy-like names. I want to say a big thank you to you for this suggestion, and to anyone who suggested a name for her. You guys always come through with so many good suggestions. And on top of getting a name today, she is also now an enchanter. And this class is way cooler than I had expected it to be. Her abilities are awesome. She's able to enchant her body to give her extra limbs to assist in battle and polymorph into other types of creatures. And that stuff's on top of the sort of general enchanter abilities that I'd expected, like being able to enchant weapons and transmutate materials. I really can't wait to see her in action. I think she's going to be really cool, and she's going to be a great student for Ernest. And now to finish up the episode, we have another marriage, this time between Ginger and Zetus. I'm looking forward to seeing some Thrumboe and Velanir babies. I also really quickly want to address something here. I got a comment from HG-WL2FM saying I should put the marriage spot in front of the altar, which I did do after this ceremony, for when we have another marriage here, that is. As everyone parties, I'll be finishing up for today. I want to apologize for this one being a little over the place. I recorded it over the past 2 weeks, and life has been pretty hectic for me at the moment. I've been sick on and off, had lots of issues with my car, and work has been exceptionally busy. I'm hoping the next one is a little more structured and put together. Nevertheless, I hope you've all enjoyed today, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.
I figured you'd be here. Do you like what they did with the place?
I thought it so funny they found this place. Poetic, really. Where you trained me, his training began. And now you've come for him. He's your new prize puppet. But not if I have anything to say about it.
You're too late, Bakal. Dander's job is finished. He served faithfully. Ro will steer the Templars to a brighter future.
You are no better than the Cold World's Molt. You also manipulate them using their faith. They fight for righteousness, yet at the end, they only benefit the evil.
I cannot apologize to you anymore, Bakal. I have done many wrongs in my centuries, but I will end on a good note. Ro will take my place.